Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, still in the laws of Boira are separating. I'd like to go through a few cases that the Kitzur himself does not speak about. However, we find in the notes from Rav Moshe Feinstein and others that these are also important cases of Boira that are practical that we should know about. Now, we spoke about the last couple of days that when you want to remove the psilis, the bad, from the meichel, from the good, that a person is not allowed to do, because that's the prohibition of separating. And therefore, how can you do it? You have to take the good from the bad. You do it with your hand, and you have to do it for immediate use. Any other way that a person does it is going to be an issue over here. However, there are cases where, even though it might look like and appear to be boyer separating, it is not. And for example, the following. Let's say that there's a pile of coats. Now it's winter time, and the person goes somewhere, and there's many people there, and everyone takes off their coats and they pile them down on a bed, on a couch, on a table, and it's Friday night and it's cold outside, and you need to get your coat before you leave that house. But your coat is underneath. So what are you doing? So in order to get to your coat, you're removing all the coats that you don't want in order to get to the coat that you do want. So on the surface, it sounds like you're removing the bad from the good. However, the way that we look at it in halacha is that you are lifting up that which you don't want in order to get to what you do want, because there is no other way for you to retrieve your coat than by removing the coats that are on top of it. So when the only way to do a particular activity is in this manner, that's not going to be considered to be boira. When the only way that I can reach my coat, which is on the bottom of this pile, is by removing the other coats that are on top, that's not called separating the good from the bad. That's called there is no other way to retrieve and to reach my coat, and therefore it doesn't fall into the category of separating. So that's one thing. Or for example, let's say you have a pile of food on a plate, and you want to get to the food that's underneath or somewhere in the middle over there, and by removing the ones on top, and you don't want the ones on top, it looks like you're removing the bad from the good. The same thing, when there is no other way for you to retrieve and to get to the food that is there underneath, therefore you are allowed to remove what's on top in order to gain access to that which is beneath it. That's not considered sorting the waste, the bad, from the good. This would also be how we would view the eating of a fruit. For example, an orange. An orange has a peel that's inedible. So how can you remove the inedible peel in order to eat the orange? That's removing the bad. You don't want the peel, and in order to get to the good. But that's the point. When the only way to get to the good is I must remove the layer of the skin or the peel that is on top, that's not called separating one from the other. That's called the way in which you eat this particular fruit. I need to take off the top in order to get to the bottom. So too, he writes over here, you have cutlery that are all mixed together. You can't start digging in there. As we said before, you push away a fork in order to get to the knife. That's a big mix. That's a gigantic mixture. However, you could lay out the cutlery on the table, so it's all spread out right now, and you can see them separately. And once that they are separately and they're no longer mixed together, that's considered scattered. It's not a mixture, and therefore you could take the ones that you want, and you could easily take the good from the bad, or you can either even push away the things that you don't need when they're all separated, because that's not called a special mixture. Okay, these are important cases. And just one last thing I want to say over, and that is that a peeler is a special utensil that was designed for the sake of separating. Yeah, a peeler peels off the skin. It was made to peel off skin from the fruit or the vegetable, and therefore to remove the skin, let's say of a cucumber, or the peel of a cucumber with a peeler, that you're not allowed to do, because that's a utensil that was made for the point of separating, as we learned before. However, of course, you are allowed to remove the peel if you want to, because that's the way that you eat that particular vegetable, but you have to do it again by hand, And hand over here means that you can do it with a knife instead of with the peeling instrument itself. Okay, have a wonderful day. We shall continue in halachas of Boirer tomorrow. All the best.